the value out of this I didn't think I would get. I'm really impressed with this program. I don't I'm really impressed with your accessibility too. Very impressed. Very.
Dude, that means the world to me. All right, this is a tour of Systems for Creation as of October 7th, 2024. This thing at less than a year old has become absolutely legendary, objectively speaking. So let's talk about it, because this thing has just been evolving. It continues to evolve, okay? So right here you see the curriculums, right? Now collectively these make up the syllabus, but individually they are the curriculums. So there's really two places you're going to start when you come into Systems for Creation. You're either going to start with chord construction, or you're going to start with rhythmic frameworks. Now, if you're coming from the jazz side of things and you're looking to become a harmonic genius, you're going to want to start over here on chord construction. If you're coming in because you want to bust open the infinite creativity glitch, that's going to be rhythmic frameworks, right? So that's more of the compositional side. Chord construction is more of the musical fluency side of things, informed by the highest level of harmonic understanding, right? Chord construction is legit a master's degree worth of harmonic knowledge packed into a 10-piece curriculum, okay? There's 10 freaking modules in here. You could literally read through this in real time in under hour and a half, right? This is really, really, really efficient. And it does deliver the knowledge at the highest level, right? Because there's only one highest level, fluency. That's the highest level. That's what this is, right? You're either fluent or you're not. You're either at the highest level or you're not. You start here, you're going to lay down that fluency. Now, I'm going to make more videos on this because chord construction is a concept that I don't think enough people are aware of. I don't think they understand this thought paradigm, right? Everyone's thinking about scales, chord scales, which scale goes with which chord, all this kind of stuff. It literally just boils down to chord construction. Throw all that stuff out. It's literally just about knowing what notes are in every chord. That's it. There's nothing else to know. You look at a chord and you know every single note in that chord. Now applying those notes to composition, improvisation, everything in between, that's a whole other challenge that I think a lot of people who are watching this video probably face. The classic situation where you've already checked out harmony. You feel like you already know everything about harmony. You'd rate your harmonic understanding as a 9 out of 10, but you still maybe sound like an amateur. Maybe you still don't have any way of applying that, and you don't see the value of all that knowledge in the context of performance. Well, obviously we've thought of this, right? So this is where Fat Shapes takes shape. This is where chord construction is organized, okay? So you can think of Fat Shapes as essentially the mentality of chord construction, right? Fat Shapes is how we think about chord construction, because chord construction is honestly kind of chaotic, right? Like that whole harmonic fluency thing, it's like, okay, you can understand it pretty easily, but then it's like, okay, what does all this mean, right? Like, how do we actually put this into practice? That's what Fat Shapes is. You know, Fat Shapes is just the organization of the first principles of harmony, right? AKA chord construction. Chord construction is the first principles of harmony, and then Fat Shapes takes that into a system that organizes those principles of chord construction into an endlessly applicable science. I honestly just stated it better in a recent post in the mentality curriculum, right? You got to have the mentality curriculum, right? Mentality is just the context. You have to know how to think about this stuff. Just like I said, Fat Shapes is showing you how to think about chord construction. Mentality is showing you how to think about Fat Shapes. Like, it never ends. Which is why I know I'm all over the place. That's fine. This is a good moment to show you the calendar, right? We literally hold office hours in here 3 days a week, right? Now, these are with students, these are with faculty. Yes, we have a faculty, right? So I'm not the only one writing these curriculums in this syllabus. I've got other people making sure that it's bulletproof. You know what I'm saying with the faculty. That's the insurance policy, that I'm not some crazy lunatic with these ideas, right? Yeah, I've got some innovative systems, but they're all corroborated by musicians who also have the highest level of musical awareness. That's why they're faculty. I'm talking about Antoine Pellegrin, Neil Heaton, Eric Quinn, these guys are all liable to show up at any of these office hours calls, but more importantly, they help refine the curriculums, right? You can see like all of these curriculums have been edited so many times, right? Because we keep updating them and we just keep refining them, making them more efficient based on what's going on in the office hours calls, right? So all of the office hours calls are archived, every single one. Every single office hours calls is archived, and I usually write a post with an assignment that's like a practical conclusion of the office hours, right? So like these calls are just getting epic, like literally unpacking implications, like obviously, right? Because that's the thing with the fat shapes. It's like, man, you know, it's only 3 shapes, but the implications are literally like gut-wrenching. Actually, it's so far-reaching so quickly, just these 3 little fat shapes here. Like, man, this thing is nuts, man. And I really do think that, like, it's going to catch on in a massive way. Like, we're just at the epicenter of it. I would say Systems for Creation is ground zero for the whole fat shape internet phenomenon, which is going to be honestly absolutely massive. So in the call, basically, we talk about fat shapes on C major, right? 2-5-1 in C major. Play walking quarter notes, play some basic voice leading, right? On just a good old 2-5-1, right? Like, that's classic, right? We all got to play 2-5-1s. We got to play huge chords on 2-5-1s. You want to play chords. You want to be awesome at comping. You want to be a master of chords and comping. That is the thing, man. There's nothing better and more fun than just being a master of comping. It's the best. It's an underlying mentality, right? It's an underlying mentality. A lot of people think that's what jazz is. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about fluency. Fluency is obviously not possible unless you have a completely comprehensive understanding of harmony. And what you'll quickly realize is harmony, as it's only 12 notes, is not infinite, while rhythm, on the other hand, is infinite, right? So let's go back over here. Applicability of this whole fat shape thing, right? It's like apply fat shapes to 2-5-1 in C major, right? You know, back to this thing, like walking quarter notes, right? Just be able to play fat, juicy walking quarter notes. Very simple. Obviously, do some basic voice leading one chord to the next, right? If you know your chord voicings, which are fat shapes, you'll always see good voice leading opportunity every time. It becomes second nature. So as you're practicing, right, the guiding principle of the practice here is going to be able to play a different chord voicing on every quarter note of every beat in general. Obviously, for every tune, basically, that's a good rule of thumb. Be able to play a different chord voicing for every quarter note throughout the tune, right? So sometimes that's going to be 2 quarter notes per chord. Sometimes it can be 4 quarter notes per chord. Whatever it is, be able to play a different chord voicing for each of those quarter notes. Basic level 1 stuff, right? If you can connect those through voice leading, obviously you should do that, and you actually should do that right away always. Might as well connect all your chord voicings through voice leading. So you can see that's kind of hard, right? Conceptually. What I just suggested is basic fundamental stuff. You are probably thinking, wait, that sounds like literally like what? How is that even possible? Fat shapes. That's how it's possible, right? So simple example, right? 2 beats of D minor can be fat shape 1 on the root. Blah, blah, blah. This is so basic stuff. I can't even go. You're not even, I don't have time for this, right? So you know, either 2 beats of G7, you know, blah, 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 you know, fat shape 2. Oh my God, like, that's not what this video is about. I will point out this thing, like, we went into the 13 to flat 13 thing. That's a huge level, right? Very confusing. People don't really know how to think about the 13s properly, but Prelude to a Kiss gives us a really good example of that. You know, 4 beats of C major, right? And I'll just say this, right? It's like, to play a quarter note for 4 beats of C major, you would probably just do something so simple, right? Fat shape 1 on the 3rd degree, giving you 3, 6, 9. Those are chord tones. Fat shape 1 on the sharp 4th degree, giving you sharp 11, 7, 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think, you guys ever thought about this stuff? Fully extended chord logic, right? Don't forget the fully extended chord. That is, I'll make some videos on this, but this is, man, this is so misunderstood. The fully extended chord and how you need to understand that you can't even achieve any level of harmonic fluency unless you're thinking about chords in terms of their fully extended form always. In general, never not doing that. And this is a sharp duality with what you would play as a lead soloist, right? So another level to be unpacked there. But you do have a duality of chord voicings and lead playing. Those all come from the same chord construction mentality. However, their application is going to be slightly different over here in melody than it is over here in harmony. Basically, 2 forms of harmony. You've got vertical forms of harmony, right? So vertical chords, right? Vertical. And then you've got horizontal forms of harmony, melody, right? But it's the same chord construction knowledge, right? Chord construction is equal to both. Fat shapes organizes all that in both. Yes, so all the things that apply to fat shapes also apply to single note playing. You just play them as single notes instead of chords, right? So that's why we need to know the 7 notes of the all fully extended chords in order to apply fat shapes accurately, right? This is why chord construction is prerequisite to fat shapes. Basic stuff that is crucial here. So then you have the assignment, right? And I mean, dude, it's like literally almost a 90-minute call here. I mean, we just get into it, right? You know, I mean, like any amount of people can show up. Sometimes it's 2 people, sometimes it's 5 people. It's perfect. All of it's amazing. But the point is, you have a lot of access to, you know, me and the faculty through those, and like pointing out again, look how many of these freaking things there are, 3 days a week, and they just go. These are amazing, right? Now, currently, so you're watching this as of October 7th, currently, each monthly subscription does come with 1 meeting with me, and that's just for any support you need on any level for your musical development. That can be about anything. That can be about feedback. That can be about specific practice guidance. That could be about like zooming way in on your playing. That can be for whatever you need, right? So that's a powerful call between the 2 of us. But honestly, with the support calls, really, I mean, people are getting all the help they need. So like what goes on in these calls, right? So a few different things. So a lot of these calls will be just supporting people through the curriculum, right? It's just like people are working through the curriculum. They're trying to understand fat shapes, right? That's why this is just a good example. It's just like we're just unpacking implications, right? Like that's basically, that's the bulk of the work, right? And you need somebody to do that with you because you're going to go through these curriculums and you're going to be like overwhelmed with like the transformation that takes place in your mind. And you're going to need to come just talk and just like let me work you through a lot of the cognitive challenges that you'll feel when you look at this stuff, because of just that potency. Just like the implications are so far reaching so quickly that you just literally need to talk about it. Like I said, they're all recorded and archived, and I think they're all worth their weight in freaking gold, honestly, just to listen to this stuff. So yeah, a lot of it's going to be about chord construction. A lot of it's going to be about fat shapes. And they'll also be about composition. They'll be about rhythmic framework. So now we're getting back to the composer side of things, right? We talked about this is if you're a composer, right? And you just really want to start writing like insane riffs, right? Like the most like ballistic, hard-hitting, upside-down, square tire inversion riffs of all time. Literally, you'll be able to do that. I believe I've done that. I believe I've written some of the best riffs of all time, you know, for sure. I mean, like, because I'm just striving for that highest level. You should too, right? And with this rhythmic framework knowledge, you definitely very quickly will literally unlock infinite creativity. Like literally never not have an idea to start with. That's the power of the rhythmic framework, always giving you like a perfect foundation to build on top of. The sound of it, stylistically speaking, is like, it's that edge of the future thing, right? Now, let's talk about rhythmic frameworks and where those come from and all this kind of stuff. So coming into the rhythmic framework thing, you're going to see a lot of these T-high things in this curriculum because this was really popular in the school for like a few months. We were all just writing tunes based on T-highs. And the reason why that happened was a lot to do with the fact that Antoine brought this concept of the T-high to my attention, saying, hey, this is a lot like the Meshuggah thing. Like, I think it's actually the same thing. Now, it is the same thing because the Meshuggah framework fits into the T-high framework, okay? But the T-high framework doesn't fit into the Meshuggah framework. And that's just that you can just scratch your head on that. It's just very interesting. And the more you get into this stuff, it's like, man, this stuff is like, you feel like you're literally at the mystery school. You know what I'm saying, right? So, because this T-high thing is ancient. This is maybe one of the oldest compositional frameworks that exists, maybe one of them, right? And so it teaches us a lot about the nature of compositional frameworks and the nature of like music creation and how frameworks are a really, really big part of it. And if you don't have frameworks in your composition, then yes, you are subject to, you know, writer's block and things like that, which don't even make sense to me anymore, because when you start to get the mentality of rhythmic frameworks, you realize that you're never being the creator. You're only ever channeling, right? And when we channel, we become the creator. So, there's that mentality, philosophy, like religion level. And so the best way to think about the rhythmic frameworks is they just open you up to just be a vessel for like music to flow through you, right? And I think that's part of like the T-high implication. I think that's I'm speculating that maybe that was a lot of what people who have worked with T-highs have considered in the past, that, I'm just opening myself up to be a channel for, the machinery of the universe, as we like to say. So that's philosophically why this whole concept busts open the infinite creativity glitch, because it's supposed to, but it does take some time to figure out, and it's a lot of implications to unpack, just like all this stuff is, and you got to talk about it, you got to see examples, and so that takes us over here to the classroom, finally, right? So that's the thing, is if you come into the rhythmic framework side of things because you're a composer, there's a lot of stuff in this classroom that's going to be crucial for you here. So, right. So we have these jazz fluency courses. We're not talking about those right now. We're going to talk about the compositional frameworks. So what you're looking at here are just compositional frameworks. Some of them are T-high. Some of them are straight up Meshuggah framework. Some of them are neither. Some of them are, the rhythm framework, all these different frameworks we've got. These are just examples, right? It's just examples is all this is. And like, look at this, right? So like here's a really good kind of basic summation of what you're basically thinking of here. It's like, okay, this song, Keys to the Kingdom, it's a total of
4. And then riff 2 is big riff, which is in 4/4, right? So this one's going to be in 4/4, right? So if you know the fundamentals of rhythmic framework, you see what that is. That's so classic, that's hilarious. And then what it is it's times 3, right? And then you need one more, right, to complete it, because this is...
Let's go in and hear it, man. You see what I'm saying with all this, right? Let's just go and hear it. Like, what are we talking about here? The whole way I see all this knowledge, where does it take you to? It takes you to fluency, which allows you to be a channel. And what are you going to be a channel for? You're going to be a channel for good. You're going to be a channel for positivity. What you'll find is you automatically always will be a channel for positivity if you play music. Music's positive, so you can't lose, right? Just learn music, right? So the idea with these compositional frameworks is like, okay, lay a foundation. Once you lay that perfect, flawless, genius, masterful, intricate foundation, right? It's going to inspire you to write lyrics. The lyrics and the melody will just be revealed as a byproduct of the implications of the form that you created. That's why the rhythmic frameworks, man. This song's called Keys to the Kingdom. That's what these are. These are keys to the kingdom, right? So let's go back over to the community for a second. So getting into just rhythmic frameworks here, it's like, what do you need to know? What's the prerequisite here? Well, if you know the pentatonic scale, you'll be fine. That's enough, right? If you understand like Tool, then that's enough. You don't need more than that to get started with rhythmic frameworks. Obviously, if you have a full comprehensive understanding of chord construction and fat shapes and all that stuff, that's gonna, yeah, you know what I mean? That, like, think about Tool with fat shapes, basically, right? Yeah, or Tool with Coltrane changes, right? Like, literally. And I've been kind of cooking some stuff up like this myself, but all of these curriculums together just give you that overall sense of high level mastery, right? So this is a high level program. This is for serious people. The price that it is listed right now, that is dirt cheap. Ask anyone who's in the program, right? And you know this thing is going to go way higher. It's already, I started at $11 a month, dude. I started at $11 a month. I raised the price as the value increased, right? As the faculty refined these curriculums, made them better, made them more efficient, as we started archiving all the office calls, as the office hours calls just got more and more potent, right? Just like dropping so much freaking knowledge. And it's not just me, right? It's the compounded knowledge of this container, you know, this school, this systems for creation, man. This is huge, right? This is a monstrous freaking resource, and it just keeps expanding. It just keeps growing, right? And I think the mentality is that's the thing that really differentiates, like, that this is a hugely important level. Like, how far does this mentality course go back? Like, literally February 5th. Okay, look at this first post in mentality. This is going to make sense to a lot of you. A lot of you probably know I have a special relationship with Monday. When I first started the Meshuggah Monday series, I literally had no idea where it would take me, if anywhere. I was following a strong instinct to learn from a band that revolutionized the way I experienced music, dude. What ended up happening is the systems were revealed, dude. Not only the compositional systems of Meshuggah, but the systems of my own productivity. Meshuggah Monday taught me how to move with purpose towards clearly defined goals on micro and macro levels simultaneously. It taught me not to rely on inspiration, rather to rely on systems. And it taught me how to focus. Discipline is about going all in on the thing that you truly love. It is about trusting the process of your inevitable success. The moment you decide to move in faith towards your highest purpose is the moment that the systems begin to take shape and focus becomes effortless. We will move towards our highest purpose together here in the school, you know what I'm saying?
The reason we see such a wide spectrum of possibility, it's 'cause we're open to receive.
Look at this stuff. Exercise free will through creation, conviction and counterpoint. Stacking frameworks is composition. This is huge. Stacking frameworks is how you get to results that no one else has ever got to, right? That's huge. The feedback loop of precedent. I mean, this is massive, right? Harmonic mentality. This is actually worth reading even. Okay, so the mentality curriculum is obviously more heady. It's like abstract, crazy stuff. So what the hell's going on here? Just jump in, all right? Get on the level, right? Level 1, harmonic mentality. Harmonic mentality is fundamentally afforded by fat shapes. That means that you have no harmonic mentality without fat shapes. You don't have anything. You don't know anything. Fat shapes is like, thank God, now we have something we can hang our hat on and we can actually think about harmony, finally, because before it was too chaotic, right? So if chord construction represents the first principles of the 12-tone system, fat shapes represent the organization of those principles into a precise and endlessly applicable science. Without fat shapes, the principles of chord construction are rendered mostly useless. Fat shapes takes the chaos of chord construction and boils it down to its most essential functionality. Fat shapes are at once mentalities, frameworks, and systems that sit above the paradigm of chord construction. Fat shapes unlock harmonic fluency. So the full circle is that chord construction applies equally to both vertical and horizontal forms of harmony. See what I'm saying? So that's why it always just comes down to chord construction and realizing that harmonic mentality is a key component of chord construction. Without the mentality of chord construction, you got nothing. And the mentality is basically fat shapes. And without the mentality of fat shapes, you've got nothing. And also on the rhythmic side of things, right over here though, rhythmic mentality, this is huge, right? So this is a part of the rhythmic framework curriculum. They're always growing, right? So I've got more just mentality stuff on rhythm, but this is huge, okay? So for composers, for anyone, this is huge. Boils down to 5 primary rhythmic frameworks, okay? 3-3-2 framework, probably know what that is. 3s and 2s as the smallest common denominator of micro components. Probably know what I'm talking about. Macro, meso, micro mentality, aka spectrum framework. If you've been really following, you know what I'm talking about. Meshuggah framework, special accent, T-high framework. These 5 primary frameworks allow us to sculpt the infinite chaos of rhythm into masterworks of sonic radiance. The curriculum, rhythmic frameworks, will dive deep into the practical functionalities as well as the dynamic mentalities surrounding the use of each of these 5 frameworks, right? So man, we're building a church in here, you know what I'm saying? Just like Steve I, he told us. We are building that church, and yep, this is good stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Antoine always with the cheeky, oh, make sure you thought of this. And it's like, yeah, I know. Okay, good. No, thank God, right? It's like, okay, it's like the insurance policy just to make sure I'm not a complete megalomaniac in here, right? And there will be new people added to the faculty. That's actually it's coming. So, yeah, some students actually will be graduating the program, and that's another way the faculty expands, right? So this is powerful, System for creation. You're getting a really freaking good price right now. The price is going to keep going up, so lock yourself in. when I talk about how efficient this curriculum is and how effective this is, it's like, it doesn't come without a cost. Now, the cost of that is like a mental transformation, which will be overwhelming for most of you, okay? Most of you. Realize, this took me my whole life to figure out. This is my life's work, okay? So it took like 2 decades to come up with this. But the way that I'm able to express it is such that you can understand the benefit of all that knowledge in like 3 to 4, 5 months-ish. Literally, that's a fact. So when I talk about this is a master's degree worth of information, that's an understatement. That is an understatement.